Hello, everybody. If you could take your seats now, and we've asked for our media guests to be over here on the side that I'm pointing to. And then we have other invited guests that we'll have over here opposite that. Just to run through real quick, we'll have our Cavaliers' very own Ahmad Crump. We'll open things up with some remarks. He'll introduce Mayor Bibb. Mayor Bibb will make his remarks. Then we expect to have remarks from Cavaliers CEO Len Komoroski. Following that, Ahmad will return and introduce Sarah Johnson, the Mayor's Office Chief Communications Officer, who will lead the media Q&A. Phyllis Salem, right over here in the gray sweater, waving to everybody nicely, is going to wrangle the mic. For questions, we just ask that you identify yourself and your media platform when prior to asking your question. So we'll get started here shortly.
I know it does work. It's kind of fishbowl. I'll go to
All right, everybody. Want to say good morning, everybody. Welcome to beautiful Tower City. My name is Ahmad Crump, entering the host for the Cleveland Cavaliers over at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. It is my pleasure to serve as the MC for today's press conference. I want to start by thanking our Rock family of company friends, Bedrock and Tower City, for hosting us in this fantastic event, in this fantastic venue that we have here. Special shout out, thank you to our mayor and his team for coming over today to speak with us. Also want to acknowledge Kelly Flato and Joey Graziano from the NBA, as we look forward to celebrating the NBA All-Star Weekend in just a few weeks as they celebrate 75 years of the NBA. We're also honored to have our CEO of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Len Komoroski, and our President of Business Operations, Nick Barlich. Also joining us, we have David Gilbert, who is representing Destination Cleveland, and Mike Mohall for the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission. Now, as you can see, putting this whole thing together has been a complete team effort as we come closer to just a couple weeks. We're bringing the NBA All-Star Weekend right back here in Cleveland, Ohio. Today, we'll discuss the steps that the city of Cleveland, with the support of these partners, are taking to keep our residents, the fans, the players, all of the personnel safe as we continue to deal with the effects of COVID-19. And we ensure that the benefits of this highly coveted event, it reaches our entirety of the city. So now it is my pleasure to introduce to you the mayor of the city of Cleveland, also my fraternity brother, Mayor Justin Bibb.
Good morning, good morning. Looking out at the basketball court there, Len, you have to tell Coach Bickerstaff I'm ready to suit up here in a little bit, okay? Thank you for joining us here today. I want to just take a few moments to thank the leadership from the Cavs and the NBA who have joined us here this morning. Also, our CEO of CMSD, Eric Gordon, as well too. And before we talk about the partnership we've outlined with the NBA as it relates to the All-Star Game, I want to spend just a few moments talking about the current situation of COVID-19 in Cleveland. While we are seeing a slight decrease in COVID-19 cases throughout the city, the vaccination rates in our city are still too low. Only 46% of our residents are vaccinated. And frankly, that is not good enough. Our administration has set a broad goal of making sure that 60% of all of our residents are vaccinated by the end of the year. And today's forthcoming announcement will be a good step in the right direction for us to achieve that goal long term in our city. We have the tools, we can and must do better to stop the spread of COVID-19 all across our city. As Ahmad mentioned, we are weeks away from hosting the NBA All-Star Weekend. We'll have visitors from all across the world coming to our fair city of Cleveland, Ohio. From February 18th to 20th, our great city will become the center of the basketball universe as we host the league's premier mid-season event during its 75th year anniversary. And as a basketball junkie, I'm really excited that our city will be hosting this year's All-Star festivities. Hosting an event of this scale allows us to showcase our city to tens of thousands of fans from all across the world to see the greatest basketball players on the planet play right here in Northeast Ohio. NBA All-Star will be an economic driver to help business recover from the impacts of the pandemic, and this is the boost our city desperately needs as we try to build the most inclusive comeback we can coming out of this COVID-19 pandemic. The Cleveland Sports Commission estimates that the NBA All-Star Weekend will have about $100 million of economic impact in Cleveland based on previous data we've seen from other host all-star cities from across the country. And while we are excited to host this global event, the health and safety of everyone connected to NBA All-Star 2022 in Cleveland is a top priority for my administration because we want to ensure that everyone involved has the best experience possible, in addition to avoiding any unnecessary strain on our local health systems. Keeping this in mind, my administration has worked in concert with the NBA and the Cavaliers to develop health and safety protocols for all ticketed guests attending NBA All-Star Weekend events. The protocols are guided by the most recent recommendations from the CDC and the Cleveland Department of Public Health, with the shared goal of keeping Clevelanders and all of our guests safe and healthy during the festivities of the NBA All-Star Weekend. So I want to just walk you through the protocols we've outlined for the weekend. Before participating in any ticketed events, all guests age 5 and up will have to show proof one time of being fully vaccinated against COVID-19 or proof of having a negative COVID-19 test. The test can be either a negative PCR test 48 hours before the first event or a negative antigen test the day of their first event. Additionally, the city's mask advisory will remain in place throughout the weekend of NBA All-Star Weekend. As part of our COVID-19 task force as well, we have made it a key goal of my administration to boost vaccination rates, boost boosters, but also increase the public education of the importance of getting our residents vaccinated all across the city. And this must be an all-hands-on-deck partnership between not only City Hall, but key community leaders across our city and across our region. And I'm here to announce that the NBA and the Cleveland Cavaliers are joining my administration to support that effort. First, the city's public education campaign will feature NBA and Cavs players, coaches, and legends. We will have special incentives for you to get your vaccine or booster, including all-star tickets, merchandise, and special autographed items, tickets to Cavs games, and more. Additional financial donations, resources, and support to aid citywide testing and vaccine efforts will also be included as part of this partnership. Through our work with the NBA and the Cleveland Cavaliers, they have agreed to donate over 10,000 rapid antigen tests and over 25,000 N95 masks to the citywide COVID task force for distribution to schools and community-based organizations. In addition, the NBA has agreed to give a financial contribution of $100,000 to the Cleveland Foundation's Funders Collaborative to support our COVID-19 recovery efforts as well too. We will also be working with the NBA and the Cleveland Cavaliers to do pop-up vaccination clinics in the hardest hit neighborhoods across Cleveland to make sure that our communities, particularly our communities of color, get vaccinated and get boosted so we can stop the spread of COVID-19. That deserves a round of applause, I believe. And I also want to say that in my short few weeks as mayor, the NBA and the Cleveland Cavaliers have really gone above and beyond to make sure that the city is fully supported as we embark on this historic and special event for our region. Beyond these health and safety measures and contributions, the NBA, as well as the NBA Players Association, are dedicated to leaving a lasting economic and social impact that extends beyond February's events and will help contribute to our city's economic recovery moving forward. The NBA, as well as the Cavs, have agreed to donate more than $3 million in contributions and resources and support to Greater Cleveland and the HBCU community as well, including 2 local organizations that will be honorary captains for that special event. The NBA has also agreed to create 2 new Live, Learn, and Play centers at the Boys and Girls Club of King Kennedy and the Crudell Recreation Center. They will also support the Greater Cleveland Food Bank and the Kids Book Bank Cleveland and thousands of children and families in the area through their NBA Cares Day of Service. In addition to that, this spring, the league will return to Cleveland to support additional programming for youth all across our city as well too. And the other thing I'm really excited about is the NBA, in addition to the Cavs, also understand the importance of voting rights and civic engagement in Cleveland, and have agreed to give additional $45,000 contribution to Cleveland Votes and a $35,000 contribution to Freedom Block right here in Cleveland as well too, as part of their investment efforts in this partnership. Another round of applause for that as well too. Again, this is just one example of how critical it is to have intentional public-private partnerships in our city. As I said throughout my campaign, that not one organization in our community can solve these problems in isolation. And this partnership is going to go a long way to make sure we can have an inclusive comeback coming out of this pandemic, but also make sure that the benefits of economic development across our city are broad-based. So again, I'm just so excited to welcome the NBA to Cleveland for the NBA All-Star Game in a couple of weeks. Cleveland is open for business. I'm looking forward to a great event. Thanks so much. Now I'm going to have my dear friend, President and CEO of the Cavs, Lynn Komorowski, join me on stage. Lynn.
Thank you, Mayor. And, word has it from JB, I had the scouting report on you have a pretty reliable 15-foot mid-range jumper. So who knows? We'll see what comes of that. So, well, thank you, Mayor Bibb, and terrific words of just excitement, as we all are excited about having NBA All-Star Weekend come here. And the one thing that's been emblematic of our community is how we come together, how we work collaboratively to bring these events, to optimize them for our city, for our community, and put our community in the best light in terms of as we present our city to the world. And it has taken a village as far as this goes. So as you just heard from the mayor, working in conjunction with our city, with Cuyahoga County, Destination Cleveland, the Sports Commission, Velocity, which has been a major effort under David Gilbert's leadership with the Sports Commission, and for all the various events you've seen take place here, the Downtown Cleveland Alliance, our local health and medical experts, and then many other community partners, such as the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, the Boys and Girls Club, and many others in making this happen. And the collaboration, which has been now, again, a consistent theme, is our ability to take these top-tier events and execute them at such a high level, at the highest levels, is now becoming a trademark of our community as a whole. And a very special thanks to our partners at the NBA, and Kelly and Joey are here, representative here today of the league, and our Commissioner Adam Silver and Deputy Commissioner Mark Tatum. But they have looked at this event with the theme of how do we put Cleveland in the best possible light? Looking at the international stage that we have here, how do we look at every aspect of this, whether it be in terms of impact, whether it be community impact, from a diverse and inclusive impact end? And we can tell you there has been no better partner in terms of looking to do that and making that happen. And the other aspect of this as well, and we work with the Sports Commission on so many events over the years that have been, fortunately, many of them at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, and just brings to mind the 2007 NCAA Women's Final Four, which is a great event, right? It's a great event, but the theme of that is, the Sports Commission worked in conjunction with the NCAA and ourselves about how to take that to the community on a broader scale basis, to the point, and we're fortunate enough to have the Final Four coming back here again. They changed their whole bid process to incorporate many of the elements that the Sports Commission put together, and took those to be a new standard of operation. And that's just something to say here is we feel very confident in working in conjunction with all of those community partners we talked about, that this will set a new standard as far as community activation, engagement, and legacy for any NBA community at hosting a game. So we know we love to set new benchmarks here in Cleveland. We're pretty confident that we're going to be able to do that here. We have a lot of execution ahead, but incredibly exciting times as far as that goes. And as the mayor noted, in terms of impact, this event is another one of the great gems or jewels of impact in terms of working together, in terms of economic impact. As the mayor noted, over $100 million of economic impact expected here through all the various events and activities. But the other part of it, is this is the unique nature of the NBA. So when you think about the two most widely played team sports in the world, you have soccer and basketball. And in soccer, you all know, you've heard of the English Premier League and La Liga and League One and Bundesliga. There's some great super leagues out there in terms of soccer. There's one super league in basketball, and that's the NBA. In fact, our own G League, the Cleveland Charge, it's the second best basketball league in the world, which plays over at the Wolstein Center. If you get a chance to come on out and have a game here tomorrow at 11 a.m. So it just speaks to the lens that it provides. So this game, these events, these activities will be televised in in 215 countries and territories worldwide. And when you take into account social and digital media, over 2 billion, that's billion, not 100 million or whatever, billion people will consume all-star events and activities. So we're proud to be part of that, to be able to shine that lens, that spotlight to the world, to put Cleveland in the most possible light, a positive light. And when you think about all the beauty shots of our city and activity, and then all the social engagement and activation will take place, that is the message that people will be seeing worldwide. So we're thrilled to be here, thrilled to be part of an incredibly collaborative community, and look forward to the menu just a few weeks ahead, and here it comes. So get ready, Cleveland. Buckle up. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. There's a lot of events going on for All-Star Weekend, so if you haven't done so, make sure you download the app, the NBA Events app, and everything that you need to know, all the different events that are going on with NBA All-Star Weekend, you can have it at the palm right there, right in your phone. So right now we're going to do our Q&A session. I have the chief communications officer for the mayor. I have Sarah Johnson up here, and we're going to do our Q&A with the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll open it up to Q&A for the media. I have Phyllis over here running a mic. So if you have a question, please just raise your hand. Mark?
Thank you. How is the city prepared to deal with the potential for all of this economic impact coming in when we know that many restaurants, hospitality industry are short-staffed and unable in many aspects of our lives to deal with COVID because of short staffing? What's in place to help manage that?
Does mic work?
Yep.
Really good question, Mark. I'd say a couple of things. From the outreach we received from local businesses in the hospitality sector, many of them are excited about the event. They also are looking at bringing on additional staff, if possible, for All-Star specifically. And I know that the Sports Commission and Destination Cleveland have been doing a lot of outreach in the months preceding the event to ensure that our hospitality sector is well prepared for All-Star Weekend. And so obviously, as you know, nationally we have some major issues related to our labor market, but we believe that this will be the economic boost that our hospitality sector needs as we come out of this pandemic over the next couple of months.
Thank you, Mayor. While I have the mic, I'll do one quick follow-up on the COVID issue.
Yeah.
There's good news out today that Cuyahoga County is low. We used to be really high as one of the leading COVID infection rates. But as you pointed out, we're a long way from where we need to be. That potentially gives a false sense of security. So if you could just detail a little bit of what the city's plan is to reach those hard to reach people, with the NBA's help and others over these coming days.
Yeah. Listen, I believe that COVID-19 is not going away. And as a nation, we need to go from this being a pandemic to an endemic. And we do have the public health tools to address the COVID-19 crisis, making sure folks are getting vaccinated, making sure folks get their booster shot, particularly our seniors and our hardest hit part of the city. As part of our COVID-19 task force, we've identified those key grassroots leaders who have trust in our neighborhoods, like the Guardians of Cleveland through the Cleveland Foundation effort that will be working with our administration in conjunction with Eric Gordon and CMSD to knock on doors, use our schools, and really meet our residents where they are so they can get access to the vaccine, can get access to their booster shots. But also, we need to have a very intentional communication campaign to really assuage some of the mistrust and disinformation that exists about COVID-19. That's critical. That's why it's important for us not to reinvent the wheel, but to use those trusted organizations on the ground who can be that conduit for us to hit those hardest parts of our city. So this effort with the NBA and the Cavs is really a part of getting ahead of the next potential spike we might see in the spring or summer. That's why having that 60% vaccination rate is so critical moving forward.
Go ahead, Jay.
Mr. Mayor, I want to take a moment and say thank you for what you're about to do in the inner city.
Thank you.
Because we really need someone to come in the area with trusted voices that we can mobilize the people in the inner city to be vaccinated. And these incentives you're talking about, I hope the tickets and the awards and all the stuff you're giving away will happen in the inner city, and we'll see a great move of people being vaccinated. I'm honored that you shared that today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And to that point, I want to also mention this. This is not a one-shot thing.
This isn't the NBA and the Cavs saying, this is all great for the All-Star game and we're walking away. This is going to be sustained over time to make sure we have all the resources that we can to hit that 60% vaccination rate goal in our city.
Thanks so much for doing this, Mayor.
Yep.
Question for you about getting to that 60% vaccination goal.
Yep.
I know your first budget is coming out very soon. Is there going to be any investment that we'll see in there that would go toward getting more people vaccinated?
You will see some additional investments in our public health department, particularly as it relates to standing up more mobile health units across the city. But we have limited resources at the city level. We have a roughly $2 billion budget. As you know, we have some financial headwinds that we're going to see through the potential change in municipal income tax loss to our balance sheet. And so as mayor, it's my job to look outside of City Hall to find every resource I can to support our residents. That's why this $100,000 contribution for the NBA is an amazing investment that will support our administration's efforts to hit that 60% vaccination rate. Yep.
Mr. Mayor, this is Sam from Scene. How do you do?
How you doing?
Just as a point of clarity, that 60% figure, is that by the end of 2022, or was that your goal for the end of 2021?
That's my goal for the end of this year, 2022.
2022,
Yep.
okay. And then could you explain a little bit more this $100 million impact figure? Sometimes in these major events, we hear these enormous economic impact figures, and it's hard to visualize. Is that the amount of money changing hands? What does $100 million mean?
From our standpoint, and I want to make sure that Lynn and David can drill down on this a bit more, but it's the amount of economic transactions we will see in the city of Cleveland for this event. But also, you think about the cascading effect of other restaurants, catering companies, et cetera, that have access to additional contracts they wouldn't have had without the NBA All-Star Game. The other thing I want to mention is this, and David knows this very well, the ability to draw these types of events only creates more long-term potential to create more economic energy if we can have more large-scale events in the city long-term. And it's important that we show the city and show the nation that Cleveland's open for business, and it's important that we ensure that this is a great event for everybody in our region. David, you want to talk more about the drill down figure around $100 million, or Lynn?
Just 2 points. It's based on past studies. That's an estimate of outside dollars spent in our community that wouldn't otherwise be spent. No multipliers. And then, of course, when you have multipliers that the mayor spoke of, even higher. Also, Sam, important to note, we are hiring a third party from out of market to do an economic impact study in conjunction with NBA, and we'll make that public when it's done.
Mr. Mayor, right here.
Oh, sorry, Harry.
That's okay.
It's like the voice of God coming down right quick.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about security. Cleveland has done a great job with the NBA championship, with the RNC and other venues and events. With 2 billion eyes on Cleveland, there is a prime opportunity, I hate to put it that way, for others to make mischief. What kind of security measures have you got in place that you can talk about to make folks in the city of Cleveland feel secure they can come and enjoy, and the city can be spotlighted and highlighted in a positive way?
Well, I would say I want to just give a special recognition to my interim chief of police, Wayne Drummond, as well as our chief of public safety, Kerry Howard. They've been working around the clock since we took office to ensure that all the right safety protocols are in place. And we will also have Homeland Security Intelligence working with our safety forces to ensure that everybody in the city is well protected. Also want to say this, we will also make sure we have the right level of patrols in our neighborhoods. That's critical, all right? And I want to make sure that members of council and our residents know that we will not detract from making sure we have good representation and good visibility in our neighborhoods as well during the weekend of the All-Star Game. Thank you, Harry.
So I just had a question in respect to the pop-up vaccination clinics that you'd mentioned. Which neighborhoods will those vaccination clinics be in? How many will there be, and when will this be taking place?
Well, we don't have the exact number of mobile vaccination clinics as of yet, but we will work with our Department of Public Health
to focus on parts of the city at the zip code and block level where we have low vaccination rates and also where we see high transmission of COVID-19. So we want to be very data-driven to target where we need to have a focused effort to boost vaccinations across the city.
Mayor, thank you for your time. Jordan Vandenberg from News 5. Was there any concern leading up to the decision to implement a vaccine or a negative test requirement? Was there any concern about possible backlash from those who were planning on visiting? And what put you over the goal line, so to speak?
Well, no. The NBA, I think, has done a fantastic job as a league, making sure that all players and staff are vaccinated and get their booster shots. The Cavs have done a fantastic job of making sure that the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse is a safe place for holding venues. Before taking office, I had very close conversations with leadership at the Cavs to talk about any preliminary things we should be doing as a city, whether it be masking inside the stadium, and we also wanted to kind of coordinate around our mask advisory as well too. And so we believe that we want to make this a safe event for our guests, but also protect the safety and health of our residents too at the same time. And so we were locked in step and very coordinated to make sure we had the right protocols in place to keep all of our visitors, but also my priority is our residents, to keep them safe and healthy as well too.
So it sounds like inside ticketed events, it'll be a mask advisory in force, which is a recommendation, not a requirement.
Yes.
Why not require masks?
I believe that it's important to give people the choice. As you've seen across the country, mandates have a lot of backlash, right? And it's critical that we encourage personal responsibility. Having a mask advisory indoors, we thought was the most prudent thing to do, particularly given counsel from our law department and experts inside our public health department, because enforcing that can be a challenge, given the issues we have in terms of enforcing those types of requirements. And so we thought a mask advisory was the most prudent thing to do, but also encouraging, for the NBA's perspective, having folks to show a negative test and be vaccinated and have a vaccine-proof vaccination for those NBA events was also critical as well too.
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe for Len, he can clarify a bit more on what exactly happens inside the arena and those NBA protocols related to both masking and vaccination.
As the mayor said, so we'll work through a process which we have, looking at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, conducted for many other events or certain other events. We'll have a process set up in terms of being able to work through as far as, again, proof of that, either the negative test, a PCR 48 hours in advance, an antigen test the day of, or again, proof of full vaccination, which is, 1 dose of the J&J or 2 doses of Moderna and Pfizer.
Thank you, Len.
Thanks.
Mayor, while I have you here, I hate to go off topic, but just...
I know where you're going.
Yes. We are I don't want to rain on things, but rain is headed this week, and we are looking at a possible snowstorm. You've already announced plans to try to improve plowing. Is there anything that can happen right now in preparation for the expected snowstorm in terms of maybe clearing and cleaning up those side streets, which are still a problem in some neighborhoods? What's the plan heading into this, which, with our luck, it'll drag on for weeks and affect our All-Star game?
Well, as you know, Mark, last week I announced kind of some revisions to our snow removal policy and plan. It's our intention that over the course of the year, we're going to have 20 additional trucks and 20 additional drivers to augment our existing capacity in our Public Works Department. Those 20 trucks won't happen overnight, right? So they will not be here by Wednesday's snow event. But here's what we're going to be doing. You'll see some announcements from our office tomorrow about greater coordination between the city, RTA, our CDCs, Downtown Cleveland Alliance, and our healthcare organizations to make sure we're using every resource and asset we can to keep our main streets plowed, keep our secondary streets plowed, and keep our residential streets plowed. But again, I would just ask for patience, because snow plows can only move as quickly as they possibly can, given inclement weather events in our city. As a matter of transparency, we announced a snowplow tracker on our city's website, but we will do everything we possibly can to keep our streets safe in the event of a major storm later this week. So it's all hands on deck.
I think we'll close with that. Thanks, Mark. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Before you leave, we do have a press release we can share with you that outlines the details of what you heard today. And thank you. We'll see you guys soon.